गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. We are in Gyaneshwari chapter 18 verse number 53 and we are looking at the 51, 52, 53 verses 51, 52, 53 and is it 54 also?
50.
And 54. These four verses are the adjustments that we need to make in ourselves. And the 51st verse said, Buddhya vishuddhaya yukto dhrutyatmanam niyamya cha shabdadin vishayam styaktva ragadveshau vidasya cha. Then vivikta sevi laghvashi yatavakaya manasaha dhyana yoga paro nityam vairagyam samupashritaha. And now ahankaram balam darpa कामं क्रोधं परिग्रहं विमुच्य निर्ममः शान्तो ब्रह्म भूयाय कल्पते. And in this way, the adjustments that need to be made is make your intellect pure, control the self with the steadiness, meaning have equanimity, and having abandoned the sense objects, all the five sense objects, seeing, hearing, touching, feeling, tasting, and we told you the meaning that abandoning means not getting influenced, not getting under the sway of the sense stimuli, and moving away from passion and hatred, then dwelling in solitude. When you have done that, these are basically what the last second part. It is basically how do you interact with the world, and you interact with the world so that the world doesn't become a problem to you. Now second question is niyam. How do you interact with yourself? Dwelling in a solitude, vivikta deshe, and then eating sparingly. We explained that. And then subdued in speech, body and mind, meaning don't make them too active, don't make them too excited, don't make them involved unnecessarily in unwanted things. In other words, you remain balanced in your attitude, remain equanimous, wantingly do not initiate anything at the level of body, mind and speech, because these are the three places where activity takes place. Activity takes place, manasa, vacha, kaya. So do not initiate activity at the body level, do not initiate activity at the speech level, and do not initiate activity at the mind level. Mind level, desires; speech level, phaltu, unwanted talking; and body level, unwanted activity, which is the result of the desire that you are having in the mind. Ever intent on the practice of meditation, and thus when we have quietened the body, breath, mind, intellect to a certain, not to a certain extent, every sitting, your whole day, your activity throughout the whole day should be in this manner, and then automatically you will be pulled onto the seat of meditation. And when the inner calling comes, when the inner pull comes, just like every night we get a pull from inside to go to sleep, similarly we get a pull from inside to sit quietly. sit sit in the garden or sit by the sea, or sometimes we just want to sit. But at that time, if nothing is coming in the mind and everything is quiet, naturally we feel guilty, we are unproductive. We sabotage ourselves by thinking in that manner, and then we want. So here he says, and maintain, when you get withdrawn naturally, maintain the dispassion. Don't get again that now what I have to do, I have been sitting for too long, now I must do something, this is not right, what will happen, how will things go on if I keep sitting in meditation. All this is not required. There is a higher intelligence which makes everything go around. So, and in this way, and resorting to dispassion, vairagya. Till here I explained last week. Now today 53rd verse, I think we started, but we can start again, doesn't matter. Ahankaram balam darpa, ahankaram balam darpa, kamam krodham parigraham, kamam krodham parigraham, vimuchya nirmamashanto, vimuchya nirmamashanto, brahma bhuyaya kalpate, brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Forsaking egoism, strength, arrogance, desire, anger, and possessions, free from the sense of me and mine, and serene, one becomes fit for the state of Brahman. So, ahankar is egoism, then balam is strength, darpa is arrogance, then kamam is desire, krodham is anger, parigraham is accumulation. Then vimuchya nirmama. Vimuchya means giving up. Nirmama means I and mine, me and mine. And shanto, and becoming quiet. By giving up all this, maintaining all these, what we have told you from verse 51 till here, it's all accumulating. And then remain content, remain quiet, and thus Brahma bhuyaya kalpate, then sit in the meditation and contemplate on Brahman. Here it says becomes fit for the state of Brahman, but here when it says kalpate, kalpate means imagines, kalpate means contemplates, kalpate means ponders upon. Ponders upon what? Ponders upon the infinite reality, which is none other than the self. And in this way, such a person brings about these adjustments within himself. Within himself. Why not outside? Because he is already dispassionate towards the outside. Slowly is coming in. Whatever is outside, whatever he understands is outside, has to be given up. He has to be renounce it. Only then he can come to contemplate on the reality. The commentary by Gyaneshwari Maharaj says, Tetha adavavaya ale dosha vairize dhopatile taya mazi pahile deha hankaru zo namo kali maruni jivo nedhi upazavoni vithambavi khoda ghaluni handachiya तयाचा देह दुर्ग हा थारा मोडूनी घेतला तो वीरा आणि वळ हा दुसरा मारिला वैरी जो विषयाचे निनावे चौगुणे ही वरी थावे जेणे मृतावस्था धावे सर्वत्र जगा तो विषय विषाचा अथावो आघविया दोषाचा रावो परिध्यान खंगाचा घावो साहेल कैचा आणि प्रिय विषय प्राप्ती करी जया सुखाची व्यक्ती तेची घालून बुंती आंगी जो वाजे. He says, he then destroys all the faults which are hostile to him. The foremost among them is egoism. Destroys fault. What is ego? Someone tell me, what is ego?
Identification with your mind.
Huh? Identification with your mind. Okay.
Doership.
Huh?
The doership, I'm doing it now.
Doership is also another aspect of it. But is
accepting the body, mind, and intellect.
Yes, that is right. Identification with the mind, body, and intellect, and breath. This sense of I, which we have due to this identification, what you all said, is it there? Is there anything called ego? Then what is ego?
Imaginary.
How?
Its own absence.
Yeah. The example that is given in our by masters is when you take a sparkler and you move the sparkler, isn't it? When you move it round, Diwali time, all the children do it. Why? Because they want to see the circle. There is only one sparkle, but you are moving it fast, and there is an imagination of a circle of light. You are seeing the circle of light, but there is no circle of light. Similarly, you are seeing only one eye at a time, because in that circle of light, it is happening so fast. What? Your sparkler is going fast. So there is a residue of that light which seems to be there, but actually is not there. Same way, your eye is identifying with every thought, a thought can appear in our mind only because of Triputi. Seer, seen, seeing. Seer is the eye. Hear, heard, hearing. Hearer is the eye. Experiencer. All the ears are the eyes. A thought cannot appear in our mind without the eye. For a thought to appear, subject, object, and instrument of knowledge. And every thought appears, then the I thought, I'm not saying the subject, but the I thought disappears. Then again the next thought comes along with the I. Then again it disappears, then again. But it is happening so fast, even at this moment for you, me, everyone, that there is a feeling of continuity of this I. And that is also not wrong. Why? Because you in essence are the continuous principle. Atman, the self, is the continuous principle. But that continuity, on account of identification with the body, breath, mind, intellect, that continuity of the self is superimposed on this equipment, on the thoughts, on the breath, on the body, on the relationships, on the world, and therefore, and who is owning all these experiences? I. So we think this identified I is the continuous one. This imaginary continuation of this identified I is called the ghost, is the ego, is the egoism. Okay. Now this has to be removed. How will you remove it? How can you remove that which is not there? This is the problem. There's only one way. There's only one way. You dissolve it. Because what is the food for the I to appear again and again? What is the food for the subject? Object, isn't it? You reduce the number of objects for the I. That is called renunciation. And now you see from the verse number 51 till now, in fact from chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita till now, we have been giving technique after technique after technique so that you reduce the data for the subject. And that is what is happening. And as it reaches a certain critical point, the inner calling to sit in meditation comes. Now when you come to the seat of meditation, here it says, and how do you do this? Forsaking egoism. Don't take ownership. Don't take a stand. Don't give an opinion. See? So you are living with a family, I am giving a lecture, you are listening to a satsang. What should be our attitude? Not that I am listening, I am speaking. For communication purpose, this language is okay. But inside, what is our feeling? What is our feeling? that it is that one reality which is speaking at one place and is listening at another. Huh? Please reveal yourself to me. Please reveal yourself. I am that, but I don't have that direct experience yet. That disposition. In that disposition, there are no questions. There are no direct answers. There are no answers for this because it's how can any question and any answer ever reveal that reality to you? That reality is self-existing. Then who is asking the questions? Ego. Who wants the answers? Ego. Then what do you do? All those who are listening on the computer also. No questions. Because it is the ego which is asking questions. And ego can never understand the reality. Just like eyes can never see the eye, the mind can never see the mind. The subject can never know the subject as an object. The ego can never come to know the essence. How more simple can it be? Yes, it is simple, but we have to become available to that. And available to what? Not available to the reality. We have to be available as an I have to be available to allow everything to be taken away from this I, from this subject matter. So either you forcefully come away from everything that it is attached to, or it is giving validity to, or you become contemplative on the truth and allow all the objects, space-time, objectivity, all of it to withdraw themselves. Urvarukameva bandhanat mrityor mukshiyam amritat. So in this manner, the foremost among them is egoism, which does not release him even after that. What does it mean that it does not release you after death? Because it is that one, that ego. What is this ego? In that sense, it is the soul. What is the soul? Consciousness plus memories is the soul. For all the memory convictions are for this ego. And there is this soul, this is this ego which moves from one body to the other. It's a concept which is given in our scripture, so we accept it. At relative level, it is happening. There are enough examples also. See, so it is this ego which is the doer. It is this ego for whom the result, the fruit of the action is there. It is this ego for whom the memory is there. It is this ego for who moves from one body to the next body. It is this ego which moves from one body to the next body. See? So, which does not release him even after death, because it is the cause for bringing up the next birth. Yes, from higher standpoint, from total mind standpoint, from totality standpoint, or from absolute standpoint, there is nothing called rebirth. Then why is the subject of rebirth brought here in the 18th chapter? To make us recognize that if we remain in identification after listening to a satsang like this, and if we don't get realized, there is a rebirth and you can continue the journey where you stopped. But if you are not interested in the next birth, you are interested in reality here and now, then we have to give up all identification. We have to give up all memories. We have to give up all hopes and expectations. That is the food matter for the ego. If there is no past and there is no future, ego is very thin. Then, nor does it let him live peacefully, but keeps him bound in a stock of bones and makes him miserable. Bones as the body. Not necessarily this body, it can be any body. It can be a bird body, snake body, animal body, lion body, elephant body. depending upon what impressions we have accumulated, with what thought we breathe the ego, the individual breathes the last. That determines the next body. So, and this body has never, it gives you temporary joys, it gives you temporary fulfillments, but body, breath, mind, intellect can never give you permanent happiness or fulfillment. Can never give you permanent happiness and fulfillment. Not at individual level, nor at total level. It cannot. How can that which is coming and going ever be a source of permanent joy? Yes, relatively, totality is more joyful than individuality, no doubt. Just as your joy is, even 1 second of joy is is more long than that minuscule joy of the bee getting the nectar from the flower. Or that mosquito whose whole life is only a few minutes. Compared to that life, in your life, you have got a greater joy, isn't it? Similarly, God, the totality, there is more joy than you are a mosquito in his eyes. That's all. You think, oh, you are such a great, your life is insignificant from the point of view of totality. Recognize this. How insignificant? As insignificant is any thought which comes to your mind. A thought comes, stays, and immediately goes away. It never stays longer. What you say that this thought is troubling me, it keeps coming again and again. But one thought at a time they come. It's repetition which is troubling you. It's not the thought. Thought is coming. How long does it stay? Now I'm saying so many words. They are appearing as thoughts in your mind. How long does each word stay in your mind? Fraction of a second. That insignificant we are from the point of view of totality. So he says, he raises to the ground the citadel in the form of the body, which is the abode of this egoism. So as long as we are identified with the body, breath, mind, intellect, ego is vibrant. If we are identified to it, masters are also living in the body. They were also identified to it when they were born. They followed these steps. They became disidentified with the body, meaning they became unaffected, uninfluenced, got disentangled from the clutches of body, breath, mind, intellect. See? Then while living in the body, they are free. Because that master, he doesn't consider himself only to be this body. His consciousness has expanded. For body, which is the abode of this egoism. So for individuality to express, there must be a form. Without form, individuality cannot express. Or Chinmayananji used to say, if you have seen his chart, Om, then comes Vasna, then comes, what is that? BMI, body, mind, intellect, PFT, perceiver, feeler, thinker, and what is the last one? Body perceives object, OET. So body perceives objects, mind thinks thoughts, and body, mind, intellect, mind feels emotions, and intellect thinks thoughts. This is how you used to put. So body is at one spectrum and objects are in one spectrum. What is in between? The perceiver. Mind is at one spectrum, the emotions are at one spectrum. What is the link between the two? The body, the mind and the object? The feeler. Intellect is inside and the thoughts are there. Who is the thinker of the thoughts? What is the connection between the two? The thinker. And this PFT, perceiver, feeler, thinker, put together, which is one person, which is I only, is called the ego, the individual. Now, out of these three, body perceives objects. You remove one thing. You remove one thing. The whole edifice will start breaking down. Either you remove all the objects, then body has got no purpose because there is nothing to perceive. Huh? Can you remove the body? Can you remove the body? No. You can remove the objects. Yes, there are stories where they are cutting their head off and all that. That is okay. That is not the point here. See? So you remove one. Mind feels emotions. Can you remove the mind? No. Can you feel can you remove the feeler I? No. Then what can you remove? You can stop being affected by the emotions. Does it mean become cold-hearted? Initially, yeah. If you want to know yourself, you have to. See, it's not cold-hearted, it is equanimity. They are not saying don't feel emotions. Feel emotions, but don't become emotional. Perceive objects, but don't get attached to objects. Think thoughts, but don't get enslaved by thoughts. Then, if this is being practiced, the PFT becomes weaker, weaker, weaker. The individuality starts living in the body, mind, intellect. The I, the individual, starts shrinking. The ego starts shrinking because it has got nothing to identify with. It has got no job. It needs a job. Ego is the doer, no? Doer and enjoyer. That is what ego is. It has got nothing to do. Then we give him another job. What do you do? That is what is told here. And that he starts contemplating on reality. You want to do something, ego? Okay. Perceive the reality, feel the reality, think about reality. PFT, So when it is thinking about the world, it will get entangled in the world. When it is thinking about God, or if it is thinking about the reality, the PFT starts melting. Even whatever little bit attachments are left to it, because thought is still in attachment, it is contemplating by way of thoughts, but what those thoughts are indicating is their essence. And in that process, the PFT completely dissolves because it is thinking about that which cannot be thought about. And that is the process. He also destroys his second enemy, which is strength. Okay, let's see what he says here. Which is strength. This enemy waxes strong at the very mention of sense objects and blots out the whole world. It is the narrow pond of poison in the form of sense objects, as also the chief among the faults. But even this enemy cannot bear the strokes of the sword in the form of meditation. What is this strength? This urge, this lust to interact with the world, to be passionate about the world. What is that strength? What is that? It is attachment only. The strength of attachment which invokes the desire and makes you go out of your senses and hold on to the world for security, for survival, or whatever. See? But when we are on the seat of meditation, meditation doesn't mean sitting like a stupid fool, closing eyes. And how many years people have come? Not to me only, but many masters. And they keep saying that we have been doing meditation or japa for 20 years, 30 years. But so what is the problem? The mind hasn't come under control yet. Then what did you do for 20, 30 years, man? So some wrong approach. Meditation is exposing your mind to silence initially. At least do that. Then you come to the next step. From the silence, don't go to anywhere else. Immediately, once you have sufficiently remained steady in the silence, then who knowing that there is silence, be that. Story over. Nothing more to be done. Our day, every day must pass in such a manner that our ability to stay in silence expands. If that is not taking place, we are just, sabotaging our happiness. And this should be done at least twice a day. Morning, evening. If you ask me, as many times during the day, let it be half a minute, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, every now and then, take a break from the computer, chalo bhai. Do it. First few days it will be difficult. After that, you will start looking forward, hey, I need a break. Every 5 minutes you will want a break then. Fantastic. Now your mind is exposing to silence again and again and again and again. And it's not a big job for the mind to remain in silence for 5 seconds, 10 seconds, half a minute. Not a big job. It says, okay, it's only half a minute. After that, I can be busy again. But you're tricking it. You're not doing half a minute or 15 seconds once in a day. You're doing it 10, 15 times a day. And as this habit keeps building up, the mind starts enjoying the silence than engaging with the world. Because mind, in the end, what is the purpose of mind? What is it wanting? It's wanting fulfillment. It's wanting peace and tranquility. So you give it, but give it in such a dose that is digestible by the mind. If it starts feeling that this fellow is going to take me for meditation, now half an hour, and it will come up with all ways to sabotage the whole thing. You tell him 10 seconds, that is okay. 15 seconds, okay. Oh, that was nice. 15 seconds was nice. Okay, 20 seconds this time. Oh, 20 seconds was also nice. Okay, 25 seconds this time. And slowly, gently. Okay. You don't even have to set a time. Whatever the mind enjoys, it wants to keep engaged in it, isn't it? That is our rule, our mind's rule. So once it starts enjoying the peace and tranquility, it will want to keep going again and again. See? So when he says here, see, these are just simple tricks to reorient the mind. You try to do it forcibly, that is Aghori style. That is too much willpower. When it is employed, the mind reacts. Do it gently. Go with the flow of life, and without the mind coming to know, turn it inwards. It should not come to know. He thinks it is a part of the life, 5 seconds is part of life. When it becomes 10 seconds, he also doesn't know. Just like when you are enjoying, you don't know how time passes. Exactly the same way. So here he says, where are we? It is the narrow pond of poison in the form of sense object, as also the chief among the faults. But even this enemy cannot bear the strokes of the sword in the form of meditation. Then it destroys the enemy arrogance, which under the pretext of giving him happiness, entices him in the agreeable sense objects. This arrogance is darpa. So there is this arrogance, which under the pretext of giving him happiness. So, this is the only way. I experienced joy yesterday, even in meditation. I did that yesterday and it gave me great joy in meditation. I will repeat the same thing today. This is arrogance. It's repetition. Holding on to what is past. You tell the mind, happiness is only in the here and now. He says, yeah, here and now. But I will think of the past which gave me happiness in the here and now. This is the problem. So, this is its story. Ahankara vimudhatma. Then he destroys the enemy arrogance, which under the pretext of giving him happiness entices him in the agreeable sense objects. This is how sometimes, even after little bit of meditation, and you start sitting in that silence again and again, you are doing japa again and again, and you are in tune with it. Suddenly, from somewhere, the sabotage comes. Oh, but what about your duties? What about that? What about this? What about you have to do that job? You have to write that letter. You have to cook the food. And there goes your peaceful disposition. There goes your peaceful disposition. And what does it do? It makes you again get involved. See? Is there anything wrong with getting involved? No. The job of the mind is to manifest or unmanifest. Silence was unmanifestation, now it is manifestation. So let it happen. You don't get disturbed. Don't take the ownership of it. Don't do it because it is don't consciously recall the memory and then get identified with it and then get into activity. This is what has to be curbed. Then the 156th verse, Povi. जो सन्मार्गा भुलवी मग अधर्माच्या आडवी सुनी वांधा सापडवी नरकादिका तो विश्वासे मारिता रिपू निवटूनी घातला दर्पू आणि जयाचा आहा कंपू तापसासी क्रोधा ऐसा महादेव दोखू जयाच्या देखा परिपाकू भरिजे तव अधिकू रिता होय जो तो कामू कोणेच ठाई नसे ऐसे केले पाही की तेची क्रोधाही सहजे आले मुळाचे तोडणे जैसे होय का शाखोद्देशे कामू है ना कामो नाशलेनी नाशे तैसा क्रोधू. He says this third enemy, arrogance, deludes him and makes him miss the path of virtue and enter the jungle in the form of unrighteousness, only to fall into the jaws of a tiger in the form of hell. It is this darp, it is this it is this arrogance. It is sticking to your guns, not ready to bend. Not ready to bend. It is only, what is delusion and what is illusion? What is the difference between the two? You have heard these words many times.
Delusion is mind playing up and illusion is eyes playing up.
Okay, so at a very gross level it is good. He said delusion is mind playing up and illusion is the senses.
Eyes. Yes.
Eyes, senses playing up. What is the difference between delusion and illusion? Anyone? All the virtual ones who are listening, the ghosts. only 5 real here.
Obviously, that is illusion for you.
All have gone to sleep, I think.
And their listening is the delusion.
Delusion, in very simple words, is self-forgetfulness. Non-apprehension of reality is delusion. And illusion,
Illusion is
projection.
See.
Seeing what is not there.
Exactly.
Projection. So very close. See? Seeing what is, seeing outside or seeing inside, doesn't matter. Seeing. But it is so first the mind forgets that in essence it is the reality. Because of that self-forgetfulness, it projects the world and then gets attached to it. And then digs a big hole for itself. And then says, oh, please help me, I want to come out. So where is he buried? In an imaginary hole. Not the real one. And this imaginary hole is its own projection. This whole world of objects, time, space, objective relations, possessions, past, future, waking, dream, deep sleep, it is only a projection of mind. And it has got caught itself in it. Who has got caught? I. What is I? As a thought, it is only it's the mind only. Just as, what is a whirlpool? Nothing but water. But if you get caught up in a whirlpool, what happens? You go to the bottom of the river or whatever whether it is river or ocean or whatever. And then, save me, save me, save me, save me, I'm dying, I'm caught up. But everything is water only. So this whirlpool within the mind, this I with its attachment creates. And we have to get out of that so that we can swim. As long as we are in the whirlpool, our problem is we are in one whirlpool, it's nature, you can't remain in whirlpool for all the time. By God's grace, you come out of it. Before you are able to take 2-3 breaths, again next whirlpool is waiting for you. One whirlpool is mother, another whirlpool attachment to mother, then attachment to food, then attachment to past, then attachment to future, then attachment to waking, then attachment to sleep. So many attachments are there. Each one is a whirlpool. Every time you come out of gone again. And again, come to swim. This is what is happening to us. If the picture is formed in front of your eyes, it's so foolish. But that's what is happening to us. That we are getting caught up in the ditch projected by our own mind. If you don't identify with the whirlpools and you be the water, there is no misery for you.
The water can never drown.
Exactly. Water can never drown. See? So here he says that this third enemy, arrogance, darpa, deludes him and makes him miss the path of virtue. This arrogance, sticking to the guns, obsessive nature, thought fixation, my way is the only way, I am always right. So all these make, and when you are sticking to your guns, then you are not ready to be open to what is. You got the blinkers on, and that is only your vision. And such a person misses the path of virtue and enters the jungle in the form of righteousness. And eventually the arrogance will take you towards that path which leads to disaster. And what is disaster? Going to hell. What is being hell? Mind out of control. Mind ever cribbing is hell. Mind never happy is hell. Mind never at peace and tranquil. Mind that which cannot sleep when it goes to bed is hell. Isn't it? See? for that requires preparation. It is not just like that. Right? How much we must interact with the world, how we must interact with the world, that is in your control. So exercise that. Always have the higher vision. So, falls into the jaws of a tiger in the form of hell. It is such a person who are obsessed. And this is what happens. Whatever you are obsessed with in your life, how many things you are obsessed with in your life? Are you obsessed with idli, dosa, vada? Are you obsessed with the wife? Are you obsessed with your children? Are you obsessed with your job? Are you obsessed with your body? Are you obsessed with your spirituality, your interaction with spirituality? All this may be sounding good, but you assess yourself that what is that which is prompting you to keep moving on in life at a relative level, at the worldly level. Assess in the sense, how should I say? Assess without taking sides. No, I am not like that. No. If it is, write down. Be truthful to yourself. See? And then we will find, when we introspect ourselves, then we find where we are stuck. Because wherever we are stuck, if that wherever we are stuck is very deep, it's very potent, then that will be the last thought when we breathe our last. And if we are a murderer, if we are a sadist, if we enjoy taking the mickey out of others, if we enjoy talking behind the back, if we enjoy whatever, there are so many things you can imagine. I don't want to imagine. Which one? That will be your destiny in the next life. And if we have lived a life of only self-obsession, not self as the self, but the ego self-obsession, then for such a person, the only way is up, baby, for you and me now. No, the only way is hell, not up, down. That's the big whirlpool waiting for you. He destroys this enemy arrogance, which after inspiring trust in it, ruins a person when we become dependent on our intellect. That my decisions are right, my conclusions are always right. I am the ruler of the family. I am the guide for the family. I am the head of the family. I am the head of the country. I am the head of the UN. So it goes on. There is no end to it. This is this problem. Don't take those positions. Don't accept those positions. You may be there, but inside the feeling should be, it's all his doing. Truthfully, genuinely. There's nothing wrong in taking those, coming to those positions. Life has brought you there. But don't take ownership. Don't take ownership. Don't be arrogant about it. I'll show you who I am. Now everyone has to follow my way. So don't trust your intelligence. In other words, when it says here, he destroys this enemy arrogance, which after inspiring trust in it, ruins a person. So don't trust your intelligence. My God, then whom should we trust? Huh? Then whom should we trust? Then trust the scriptures. Follow what the scriptures are telling you. Trust God. Think about Him and let Him guide your mind. But you trust your intelligence. You trust your intelligence is for the ego. You trust your intelligence. It is a sure shot to hell. It's a sure shot to your own ruin. And ruin in death doesn't mean it's a particular event you want to take, it can take. But death is living here and now in misery is hell. Living here and now in an abandoned joy. Joy for no reason is peace and tranquility. You are with yourself right now. Then how we should live? When you are living, when you are interacting with the world, take everyone to be an expression of the divine. When you are with yourself on the seat of meditation, renounce everything. Renounce what? Renounce the world, renounce the senses, renounce the mind, renounce the intellect. Be the conscious principle. When you are functioning with the world, interacting with the world, communicating with the world, if you take the whole world to be an expression of the divine, then what will be your disposition? That of surrender, that of service, that of love, because it is an expression of the divine. Where is the question of arrogance then? Where is the question of comparison? Where is the question of competition? Where is the question of improving the world? There is no question. You just accept the world as it is. This is a very, very important point. But we do exactly the opposite. We teach everyone, but we love ourselves. Isn't it? We love ourselves and we are critical about the world. We must be critical about our equipments and we should love the world as it is. But our interaction is exactly diametrically opposite. And that's what is creating all the problem. Change. Slowly, slowly change. Serve the world, sacrifice for the world, love the world. For it is an expression of the divine. Divine alone is expressing as the total creation. Because if you try to come to know the self through the world, it is not possible. It's not possible. He then destroys the enemy desire. The next one is kama. Ahankaram balam darpa. Kamam krodam parigraham. Kamam is desire. Then he destroys the enemy desire, which makes even the ascetics tremble and begets the vicious fault of wrath and remains famished the more it is fed. What is this desire? What is fire? The more firewood you put in, the more ghee you put in, the more fire becomes bigger. The more bigger it gets, the more fuel it wants, isn't it? Exactly the same way is our desire. The more you satisfy the desire, the more stronger the desire becomes. Let it be for food, let it be for attachments, let it be for memories, let it be for expectations and hopes, let it be anger, jealousy, etc., etc. So the more simple rule, the more we satisfy a desire, and it's only a small one. For a long time I haven't had a coffee, let me have a coffee. Next day again, Arey, for such a long time you didn't have coffee, yesterday you had one, only half a cup you gave me. Today one more, it doesn't matter. From tomorrow I will not ask. You take the second one also. अरे 2 ले लिया, चलो this 1 week I'll give myself it's a cheat week, and after that I'll start again. The cheat week gone, after that, before you know, the whole year is over. This is how we do it, no? Cheat day, cheat week. It's all self-sabotage, nothing else. So, where are we? Which makes even the ascetics tremble. The famous story of Vishwamitra, who became infatuated by Menaka after 10,000 years of meditation. The Lord of the heaven, Indra, he saw, hey, this fellow is he's becoming stronger than me. He calls one of his angels, Apsaras. Beautiful. Go, break. What I have to do, sir? She's the dancer in his court. Go, one of the good ones. Go, break him up, break his penance. She goes, and without showing herself, she cleans his ashram. Before he comes to do the puja, she keeps all the puja ready and the flowers ready and the puja samagri ready. When he goes to take shower, she keeps her clothes ready. So everything, and he gets up at 4 o'clock in the morning to do meditation. 3 o'clock, he sees the whole ashram is clean. He's alone in the ashram, nobody else. He sees the whole ashram is spick and span. Everything is in its place. Who is doing it? He said, who cares? He was a great tapasvi. His attention was only on contemplation. Now, whoever it is, who cares? He'll sit. Continued that for many days. And then she went back to her boss, Indra. This fellow is not getting disturbed. He says, increase your intensity of engagement. So she starts dancing in front of him. He's meditating and she's dancing. He doesn't open the eyes. And one day, how to do it? Now she comes and while doing all this, now what is happening to this Apsara is, for so many days she is engaged with this Rishi, with this Vishwamitra, and she is continuously thinking about him. She is continuously doing things for him. Yes, out of duty, because her boss has said, but she is continuously engaged. What happens when you engage with something again and again? You get attached. She falls in love. Well, love, attachment, whatever you say. She falls in love. Now, she wants to have him. On one side is the fear that she will get cursed by this great Rishi. On the other side, if she fails, she has a fear that she will be punished in the heaven by her boss. But her love for this ascetic was greater. She says, okay, doesn't matter. It's not now, it is no longer because my boss has told me to do this. Now I want to do it because I genuinely love him. I genuinely have fallen in love with him. Now what to do? So one day when he was meditating, it took days. She will be dancing, she will purposely make the sound while walking, wearing those anklets and all that. And one day when he had taken bath and he was just gone to sit in meditation, she's taking bath in the river, and she comes out of the water with all the cloth stuck to her body. And he looks at her, and he is a king. Originally, Vishwamitra was a king. He was a Rajasic fellow. He had many wives. But now for so many thousands of years he has been meditating. But the genetic code has not changed yet. The transformation hasn't taken place completely. So he looks at her. For 1 extra second is all that is required to get attached. Now he goes to sit in meditation, and in front of his eyes, that beautiful maiden coming out of water with the wet clothes stuck to her body, the silhouette of her body, instead of the divine, this girl is coming in front of his eyes. And his passion is getting aroused, because as a person he was rajasic, and she recognizes that this fellow is disturbed. So she comes, first time after so many days, she comes, and while he's sweating in his meditation, she takes her cloth or sari and puts it on her forehead, and she says, "Are you thinking of me?" Story over. Before they know, they have a kid. Straight. Before they know, they have a kid. He also falls in love. She's also falling in love. After 10,000 years of meditation, a great ascetic to whom the Gayatri mantra Om Bhurbhuva Swa Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimai Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat was revealed by the Gayatri Mata, to such a person is falling. See? Same way Bharat, after whom our country is called Bharat. That Bharat, he was also for thousands of years he meditated on Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, not Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Narayanaya. And then one day he saw a deer, female deer, being pursued by a lion, and she jumps across the rivulet, and in that flight over the river she gives birth to her baby fawn. And in that roar of the lion, this meditator Bharat, he was also a king. Every king in the olden times renounced to become a sannyasi. We say we are brahmachari, grahast, vanaprasth, sannyas, but nobody is going into vanaprasth and sannyas. It's only a mental thing for them. Yeah, this is Hinduism, but nobody practices it. So they used to. So he says, "Oh, it's the Lord's wish that I opened my eye. It is the Lord's will that he opened my eyes to see that this baby fawn was being born. So why did he open my eyes? I didn't open by my own. Why did he make the lion roar? Maybe it was because I should open the eye and I should see this baby fawn being born. So what is the reason? I think he wants me to protect this fawn and rescue him from drowning." So he gets up from his meditation, goes and picks up the fawn. All this is his imagination in his mind. Because as a king, he is the father of the whole nation. So it's the Lord's wish. So he goes, brings it. Now he gets engaged. So this baby fawn, so he collects. Now before he used to spend so many hours in meditation. Now he spends more hours collecting only the top tips of the fresh grass to feed this baby fawn. Or first he got the cow, then he used to milk the cow, then feed the milk to the baby fawn. As the fawn started growing, now milk was not enough, so he started collecting grass for him, as if he can't go and chew itself. No, I must feed. And now the baby fawn, for him, father, mother, uncle, auntie, everything is this king. So whenever he sits in meditation, he sits next to him, puts his head on his lap, and waits till he opens his eyes to give him attention. And eventually he comes to a point where he has to breathe his last. And when he breathes his last, he thinks, who is going to take care of my baby deer? Next life is, after so many thousands of years of meditation on the japa Om Namo Narayanaya, he thinks of baby deer. Next birth is deer. See, these two stories I have given you, that when we get caught up in a desire, these are all desires, both in the name of helping the nature and the other one out of lust. See, even after so never have the arrogance that I have become a great meditator, that I have mastered japa, taking the name of the Lord, that I have understood everything. No, all understanding in us is happening by His grace. Never take the ownership. Never take the ownership. Because you take the ownership, ego becomes strong. Ego is the one which takes the ownership of body, breath, mind, intellect. If the intelligence, the understanding is being taken ownership of, ego is becoming strong. If it is being offered to the feet of the Lord that it is by His grace that the understanding is taking place, it is by His grace that these words are coming out, it is by His grace that some understanding when we are listening is taking place, then all the merit goes to the Lord, all the demerit also goes to Him. You are only the witness. You become the witness. Well, you are the witness. And this is actually what is going on. So here when it says that desire which makes even the ascetics tremble begets the vicious fault of wrath and remains famished, the more it is fed, the more you feed the desire, the more it wants. So be very careful not to get attached to anything. Dhyayato vishayan pumsan. Whatever you think of, you get attached. Whatever you get attached, you desire. Whatever you desire, either that desire is satisfied, it leads to greed. If it is not satisfied, it leads to anger. And if it is satisfied, it leads to greed. Greed also can never be satisfied, so it leads to anger. Anger leads to delusion. You stop. Delusion leads to loss of memory. Loss of memory leads to inability to know what is right and wrong. Where you don't know what is right and what is wrong, you are no longer a human being. You are an animal in the skin of a human being. You are worse than an animal. At least they follow the nature. They follow the cycle of nature. You are not. You are after lust. You are after greed. And you will do yena kena prakarena, by whichever way you want your thing to be, your desire to be fulfilled. Then there is no right way, there is no wrong way, it is your way. The lust is so strong, the lust is for whatever. It clouds your mind. So be very attentive, be very alert what you are thinking of in your daily living. Because if you think of something too much, why too much? Only 2-3 times. You must have observed that in your life. Even if some things, they are not there in your mind, and suddenly when you are going to sleep, one thought comes and it keeps going round and round and round. In the same thought your mind keeps going, isn't it? One thought and you gave it attention, gone. So, with the destruction of desire, wrath is automatically destroyed. Wrath means hatred. Anger.
Extreme anger.
Extreme anger. Indiscriminate anger. Indiscriminate anger. Because desire means, when we become desire at an extreme is lust, where there is no right or wrong. Then that is, and if you are not getting what you want, then wrath, extreme anger. What happens in extreme anger? You start sweating, your nose becomes big, your body starts shaking. Is automatically destroyed. Just as when the tree is uprooted, its branches get destroyed, so the eradication of desire brings about the destruction of wrath. So here the krodh is taken, extreme anger is taken as wrath. So reduce the desires. How do you reduce your desires? Reduce your expectations in life. Reduce your expectations slowly and steadily. Then what do? If you don't know how to reduce your expectations, reduce worldly expectations and increase godly expectations, divine expectations. If you can't do it, replace, but something which is worthy. That is what japa is. (160) 1061 म्हणवनी काम वैरी झाला जेथ ठाणोरी तेथ सरली वारी क्रोधाचीही आणि समर्थू आपुला खोडा शिसे बाहवी जैसा होडा तैसा भुंजवनी जो गाढा परिग्रहो जो माथांची पालाणवी अंगा अवगुण घालवी जीवे दांडी घेववी ममत्वाची शिष्य शास्त्रादि विलासे मठादी मुद्रेचे निमिसे घातले आहाती फासे निसंगा जेणे घरी कुटुंबपणे सरे तरी वनी वन्य होनी अवतरे नागवियाही शरीरे लागला आहे. He says here, when the desire is stilled, the stirring of anger also comes to an end, just as a person in authority makes the offender carry the stock in which his ankles are to be bound on his head, so his enemy by name possession rides on his head, corrupts the mind, makes him addicted to vices and compels him to carry the stick of attachment. In other words, we are carrying the imaginary burden and getting tired by it. Simple as that. See, the example taken is that the culprit, he's put in the chains and he has to carry his own chains. In other words, you are carrying your own cross on which you are going to be crucified. Jesus had to carry his own cross. You are also carrying your own cross. What is that cross? What is that cross?
Vasanas.
Huh?
The vasanas.
Your vasanas, yes, but nobody has seen those vasanas. You're carrying. What is that you are carrying? What is the burden? Burden of attachments, burden of possessions, burden of anger, greed, jealousy, arrogance, hypocrisy, egoism. All this is your burden. Burden of past, burden of expectations, burden of regrets, isn't it? All this burden will flash in front of your eyes at the time, at the last breath. It happens. Ask. You can't ask. No, but you may not ask, but you observe. Those who are about to die, usually if they are mentally they are okay, means they have not got dementia or anything, they will ask for certain things. And that is their deep-seated, unfulfilled or whatever they are attached to. They like to eat what they have been, which they are desirous of. They want to see someone's photograph. They want to talk to someone. They want to make peace with someone. All those are unfinished businesses that have been remaining unresolved in their mind. That is the burden, isn't it? See, you see all this around you. You have seen it in movies. You have seen it in live when you have gone and visited people. But we have to become alert that we don't want to fall into the same trap. We don't want to fall into the same trap. We want to go with a clean slate. To be in that clean slate, we have to start now. Keep your mind clean. Keep your mind empty. For that, what is going to be told now after this verse? Makes him addicted to the vices and compels him to carry the stick of attachment. So many people, they go on living the life of, they call senility in old age. What is that? It is carrying the burden of regrets or expectations, and people are not meeting that, and they become senile. When world is not behaving according to their wish, people around them are not behaving according to their wish. So they have become critical of everything, and that leads to that, because no peace in the mind. Like a person who is a good proofreader, you give him a wonderful novel, you give him a Ramayana, or you give him some nice story to read. Instead of enjoying the story, he will only be proofreading the whole book. Can he enjoy the story? No. Are you enjoying your life? No. You are only making ends meet. Will this money be enough? I think I need more. I have to travel, I have to get this, I have to do that, I have to do this, there is no end to it. You are only catching up. You are not satisfied with who you are, where you are, as you are. You always, in general, a person always is uncomfortable to be as he is. He wants to be something. I'll be happy when I go to India. I'll be happy when I've had my dinner. I'll be happy when I'll be fresh when I get up tomorrow morning after sleep. He's all, what if you don't even get up? Then what? But expectation. See, so in that type of thinking is carrying your cross. Because at this moment, the doorway to infinite happiness is only in the here and now, in this moment. But we have already outsourced it to future. See, we have outsourced it. And that is the burden that we are carrying. So, tyage naike amritatva manashuhu. The stick of attachment which he is talking about means attachment. What are we attached to? Three desires. Putreshna, Vitteshna, Lokeshna. Attachment to your nears and dears, children, husband, wife, parents, relatives, etc., friends. That is first attachment. Then second, attachment, Vitteshna, attachment to wealth. Good health. I eat only little bit, I don't eat too much. I only take one coffee. I am happy with whatever life gives me. What is that? The wealth. Oh, I'll just try out one siddhi, I don't want more siddhis. Got caught up. Vitteshna. But when does that wealth of physical wealth, of wealth of goodness, wealth of compassion, wealth of empathy, where is it? Where do you draw a line? Because for all this, objectivity is the norm, isn't it? Sense of security is the norm. Duality is the foundation for all this. So we lose the plot. Vitteshana. So outside wealth or inner wealth? I am truthful, we should cultivate it, but without attachment. But cultivate those which are given in the 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Then, Lokeshna, desire for name and fame. I should be known by people, I should be respected by people, I want to leave a name behind. That I was the greatest person who created maximum confusion by giving lectures. I will never be forgotten. I will make sure of it. Right. I want to be famous, whichever way. So these are different ways of carrying this load of attachment. This is an imaginary load carried by the mind, which does not exist. Only the self is. Because of possession, even a detached ascetic becomes entangled in the snares in the form of this is my disciple, this is my book, this is my hermitage. That possession which was shaken off after leaving the family appears in the form of sylvan things in the forest and pursues even a nude ascetic. I told you example, maybe I preempted it. Nude ascetic. What did he say? Pursues even a nude ascetic. Okay. So you see, and this is why we don't have me, my teacher. Even before I went to the ashram, because I was not part of any organization. I have not come from the background of any organization. My only goal was to know the divine, that's all. So, no disciples. We don't want to do good to the world. We don't want to build hospitals. We don't want to build schools. We don't want to have disciples. We don't want to have ashrams in one in every city. No. See? Then it becomes a business. Then it becomes my disciples, my ashram, my hospitals, my schools, my children. I am doing so much great. Every person will come, Swamiji, you are great, you are doing so much for the world. It is by your blessings everything is happening. If your hospital was not there, my child would have died, my wife would have died, my parents would have died. They were going to die anyway. The disciples say, Guru Devo, Guru Devaya Namo Namaha, Guru Devaya Namo Namaha, Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, everything, Guru Devo Maheshwara. You are the ultimate, this, that. And he keeps getting pumped up and pumped up and pumped up. And then another sannyasi comes, build another ashram next door. And then starts siphoning off his disciples. Come. What does your teacher do to you? Teaches you. I will teach you and give you stipend every month. This is a better option here. I will give you a monthly income. Do you get enough? No, we just make do with whatever is there. Whatever people give. No, I have got enough. I have got the siddhi. I'll teach you also. No, but actually, how many years you have been studying in that ashram? Oh, last 20 years I'm there. Oh, good. So you studied all scriptures, yes. Oh, then you can be a teacher. Has he made you the teacher in the ashram? No. I will make you the head teacher in my ashram. And there will be no shortage of anything. You don't have to go out and beg for food. No bhiksha. Food will be always available. I'll make sure. All you have to do is teach. Bhas gaya. Sannyasi bhas gaya. This is what is going on. Beware, beware. And we feel we are doing a yeoman service because it's the sheep mentality. Everyone is going to one ashram, everyone, oh, I think this is good, this is good, this is good. The ashram that I was in, they said, oh, I had started about 10-15 classes all over Melbourne. Suddenly their eyes popped up. They said, oh my God, almost 120, 140 children were there. They said, oh, if we charge $10 every class, suddenly we make good money. And in the meeting they said, oh, I think we should start charging the classes. I said, no, I don't want to charge classes. He said, you are in an organization. I said, then the committee can go and ask. I will not say no. But I will continue to teach them even if they do not pay. That didn't go down well. That became a bone of contention. Then who's going to pay for the ashram? I said, I didn't ask for this building. $1 million cost. I didn't ask for it. I am ready to live under a tree. It is for you. I said, I didn't ask. Don't put the burden on me. I'm not going to carry your cross. I'm not going to carry your cross. I got the education free. I'm going to teach it free. See? But it becomes a business. It becomes a question of survival for not this ego, a bigger ego called the organization. Organization, what is it? It's a bigger ego. It's some name. What is it? In the name of this mission, in the name of that organization, in the name of Vivekananda, everyone is printing money. In the name of this Mahatma, everyone is printing money. In the name of God, temples are printing money. Think. Why just temples? Churches, all religions are printing money in the name of God. Catch the game. Catch the game. Do what is required. If I go to a temple, I also buy someone buys it for me and I offer it to the Lord. I do it. Just now someone told me, Swamiji, we have got permission from the council to build the temple and all that. I said, don't get me involved. I am only a guest. I'm not getting involved. See? So that way what happens? Everyone calls me, but I'm not for anyone. And yet for everyone. Yoga studios invite me, Kriya Yoga people invite me, Ramana Maharshi people invite me, Satya Sai Baba people invite me. But when you are stuck in one place, then you create an identity. And that time, oh, I think why they are inviting me? Why should I go to them? People can think that way. Why should I go to my competition? I will do my organization's work. Why should I go to competition? It becomes a competition. But right now, there is no competition. Free for all. See? Is it time? Yes. Oh, 1 minute. Let's quickly complete this. Because of possessions, even a detached ascetic becomes entangled in the snares in the form of this is my disciple, this is my book, this is my hermitage, that is possession. That possession, which was shaken off after leaving the family, appears in the form of sylvan things in the forest and pursues even a nude ascetic. Nude ascetic, the Naga Babas. What is going on in their mind, God only knows. I'm not saying every one of them, but many imposters are there. See? They leave the family, they get attached to ashram. They don't want to have a family, they get attached to disciples. Then how do you, is it not our purpose, is it not our duty, responsibility to spread the Sanatana Dharma? Did you create the Sanatana Dharma? Did someone come and tell you, I hand over the responsibility of Sanatana Dharma to be spread to the world? Sanatana Dharma is self-established. It is self-existing. It is not other than the reality. You focus on your journey to yourself. Rest you leave it to the divine. It will sort itself out. Well, there's nothing to sort out because he's only playing with himself. You don't have the eyes to see that. Therefore, this idea that I have to spread the Sanatana Dharma, this is the cry of an ignorant person. That we have to maintain the Dharma. Who are you, man, to maintain the Dharma? Then why are you teaching, sir? We are teaching ourselves. Simple as that. We are not here to spread. We have never advertised, we have not done anything. We only do it for those who are interested. People get attacked. People come to the satsang only by word of mouth. We don't keep telling people, please come, please come. I'll give you $10, come and attend the class. I'll give you $10. Good idea. accommodation also. So this is not the way. Renunciation means renunciation of attachment to relations, attachment to wealth, attachment to name and fame. Instead, attachment to the totality, divinity, call it Lord or call it the infinite consciousness, the Brahman. Contemplate on that. Withdraw your mind from all these and attach your mind to the higher. To bring this about, all these adjustments are given in these 4 verses. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnahat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Just sit quietly for a moment.